Hello and welcome back. We are in the midst of AliExpress anniversary sale, which ends on the 26th of March. And while I did compile a list of 20 recommendations a few days ago, there are a few, I would say, wildcard timepieces that I wanted to include, but for various reasons I didn't. So, for example, one of the watches did not make my previous list simply because it was not yet available for sale back then. Yes, it is a brand new, and I should add, a very much anticipated release that only became available a couple of days ago. So I have a bunch of interesting watches on this list. However, some of the timepieces are also a bit like Marmite. That is, I know that some of you will really appreciate them and some will have some strong opposite feelings, to put it mildly. And there are a couple of watches there that I had a really good experience with, and I can strongly recommend them because I think they are so good. Only 10 watches this time, okay, 11, I added a bonus one as I do sometimes at the very end. Links, of course, to all the watches will be in the description. A usual disclaimer applies, those will be affiliate links that do help to support this channel, and your support is always appreciated. And by the way, if you haven't watched my previous recommendation list of 20 watches, I will also link it in the description. First on the list is this Farasute regulator. Farasute as a brand first caught my eye when I saw the another watch, which houses automatic mechanical chronograph movement. And I must admit that that watch wasn't something I would call a budget offering, priced at around $500 give or take. However, this particular timepiece is considerably more budget-friendly, and it still looks quite attractive, and also has good proportions and premium materials like sapphire crystal, stainless steel case and genuine leather strap. But the most interesting part of this watch is the manual wind mechanical movement with 3 individual axles for each hand, minute, hour and the second hand. Farasute listed the movement here as Seagull made without elaborating on the model number or any other details for that matter. If you are familiar with such movement, well, do share with us in the comments. Being a 39mm watch, of course, makes it suitable for a big range of wrist sizes, and as I just pointed out, the price of around $168 during the current sale is quite attractive too. Okay, there is still a question of the brand name. It is kinda okay, but personally I'm not sure if I'm a big fan. Having said that, there are still some really interesting watches on my list with considerably less popular brand names. So, what do you think about the name like Farasute on the watch dial? Well, do share with us in the comments. I made a post about this watch on my community page not so long ago, and I was quite surprised by the amount of positive comments and also by the amount of people that appreciate card games among the audience of this channel. Not quite sure what to make of it though. So obviously we have here 2 dial options, and this watch comes with a rolling Panda dial too, which also seems to be quite popular. And another very attractive point here is the discount of more than $50 from the normal price of around $275 all the way down to $212 during this AliExpress sale. So, irrespective of which dial option you go for, we get here a very respectable set of specifications, like Seagull ST25 automatic mechanical movement, which we can see through the exhibition caseback, sapphire crystal covering the interesting dial, unidirectional bezel and full stainless steel construction. Add to it 100 meters of declared water resistance and we get a fun watch which is also quite practical. One thing to keep in mind though, the case diameter here is stated as 44.5mm, which isn't small by any stretch of imagination. The prominent size of this watch is somewhat compensated by the inverted L-links, however, I wouldn't recommend this timepiece if you have wrists slimmer than 6.5 inches. So I did a full review of this recent release from Cadisen a week or so ago, and while I was initially really impressed with this well put together homage, I gave it a bit of a hard time in my review. Truth be told, my criticism was well deserved and I stand by it. However, I still really like this watch, and as a desk diver, this watch has so many really good strong points that I decided to include it in this list. Also, Cadisen just rolled out a fourth colorway with a stainless steel case and black bezel, so now we have even more choice. With a screw-down crown and screw-on back case, we get here a very practical 100 meters of declared water resistance, which is also complemented by the decent lume. There is a lot to like about this watch, especially for the price, although do keep in mind that the crystal here is not made out of sapphire and Cadisen decided not to lume the bezel, which is a bit odd. Check out my full review for all the details if you are interested in this timepiece. So I left out this popular new San Martin from my first recommendation video. However, a few things have been happening to this model that can be of interest. First, we have new dials. So I called it a GADA watch in my review, and that drew a lot of heated comments claiming that GADA watches need to have more subtle dial colors. Well, great news. Now gray and dark gray dials are also available. So GADA purists, rejoice! And the second update is availability of a FKM rubber strap option. It is a fitted link rubber strap specifically designed for this watch, so there is no awkward gaps between the strap and the case. And also it covers all available sizes options. The question is $35-ish difference enough to forego San Martin's really good stainless steel bracelet? Well, I will leave it for you to decide. I will see if I can get this rubber strap option in for review and evaluate if it's really as good as it looks. But if the $245 price tag on the rubber strap of San Martin's GADA still seems a bit too steep, well, Watchdives to the rescue. For around $100 less, we can get this really good-looking sport watch, and it comes with a date or no date option, and on a stainless steel bracelet too. Okay, the level of finishing, while actually very decent, isn't exactly on the level of San Martin, and the dial is also not as refined. Still, a really good option, and I did a full review of this watch, so check it out for all the juicy details if you are considering this timepiece. I will leave the link in the description. Another watch that I reviewed recently is this Militado, and it also offers a more budget-friendly alternative to its competitor Baltany, which has a very similar watch in its catalog. However, Baltany is about 3mm larger than Militado, and so we get a 39mm case with Baltany, and it also is more expensive. So this Militado does offer a great, more affordable alternative, although there are some features that can be found on Baltany that are not available on Militado, like a hardened scratch-resistant coating that Baltany applied to their mirror-polished case. Still, this Militado is really impressive, and a 36mm case size would be a more attractive proposition for some. I will leave a link to my full review in the description, where I of course go into much more detail. So we have another San Martin. This really well-executed diver is also really well discounted during this sale, all the way down to $214 from normal price of $240. Taking into account that this homage to a very popular Grand Seiko diver started its life as a $500 watch, well, seeing such a competitive pricing is really encouraging. I also did a full review discussing what San Martin did to make this watch so much more affordable and how much more value we get on this version, which includes improved bezel action, upgraded water resistance and upgraded bracelet with a new on-the-fly adjustment clasp. So it looks like a great opportunity to get this diver during this current sale. A link to my full review, of course, will be in the description. Okay, I did warn at the start of this video that some watches on my list will generate a love-hate response from watch enthusiasts, and this BERNY brand is one of those. However, I must say that BERNY, instead of printing their brand name on the dial, put a much more subtle and, I must say, actually attractive logo. So to me, this watch has no visual impediments, if you like. Actually, it is overall a very good timepiece, and taking into account a full titanium construction and extremely competitive price, this is probably the best value titanium field watch on AliExpress, so no surprise that BERNY sold nearly 500 units so far. And seeing that BERNY offers even further discounts during the current sale, well, earns this field watch a place on my list. Okay, this particular model combines a bunch of my favorite things about watches in one package. So first, I like chronographs, especially powered by mechanical movements. Second, I'm a bit of a Tudor black bay chrono fanboy, and this Sugess has a few design cues similar to Tudor Watch, to put it mildly. And third, we get here one of my favorite complications, a power reserve indicator, which is especially useful on this manual wind Seagull movement because it will help to reduce the risk of accidental overwinding. And last but definitely not least is the good discount during this current AliExpress sale. So a very interesting option to consider. And now another very good looking chronograph on which I nearly pulled the trigger more than once, but something has been stopping me. If you guess that something is the BERNY brand name printed on the dial, well, you might be right. But then again, it is somewhat personal preference, I guess, because this is a very good looking watch, homaging one of the iconic timepieces from Breitling and offering a serious value for money, like a full stainless steel construction, sapphire crystal and fully functional rotating bezel. Powered by Seiko Mecha Quartz VK63 movement, this is a very good looking watch, which is also available in a bunch of very attractive colorways. And it is priced really well too. I might finally get over the brand name and buy it for review, so we will need to wait and see. And now that bonus timepiece that was only released a couple of days ago and something that a lot of watch enthusiasts were waiting for. Yes, this is finally a Miyota 9075 powered travel GMT watch from Saint Martin. Okay, it looks pretty much identical to a three-hander version of this watch, which is also powered by Miyota 9000 series movement. And yet, it is a bit of a milestone because this is one of the first, if not the first watch on AliExpress to utilize this premium GMT movement from Cadisen. And yes, of course, the most noticeable feature of this watch, once we stop enjoying the view of GMT hand on the dial, is the eye-watering price of nearly $500. Nearly double the price of the three-hander option of this watch. However, before you start hitting the keyboard telling us in the comments how overpriced this GMT is, well, to be fair, most macro brands that offer Miyota 1975 based GMT watches charge on average at least $200 more than this Saint Martin. However, having said that, the Citizen's own Boulevard GMT, powered by the same movement, while initially was priced at around $900, can now be found online for around $500. What are your thoughts? Well, do let us know in the comments. So here you have it. I hope you found this list useful or at least thought-provoking. And if you did, please hit that like button and of course don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Check out my other recommendations that I will link on the screen somewhere around here. Thank you for watching, take care, and I will see you in the next video.